How can today's teachers eat well and care for their bodies at the same time? How can we fit movement and fitness into our hours at school? What are some simple strategies we can follow to improve our nutrition? Welcome back to another episode of the Teachers on Fire podcast, airing live each Saturday on YouTube at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern. My name is Tim Cavey, and my mission here is to warm your heart, spark your thinking, and ignite your professional practice. Today's Teacher on Fire is Eric Nelson. Eric is a K-5 physical education teacher and the Director of Member Success at TeacherFit. TeacherFit provides proactive wellness solutions that focus on physical and mental health for teachers and students. You can connect with Eric on LinkedIn, on X at TeacherFit_, on Instagram at TeacherFit_, and through the TeacherFit newsletter. You'll find it at teacherfitnewsletter.beehive.com/subscribe. Eric, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Are you, my friend, ready to light it up?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. I was trying to recall, I don't think it's been many times that I've featured someone solely focused on teacher physical and emotional mental wellness. And so I'm really looking forward to getting into this conversation. Before we go deep on your work and your mission, I first like to open with story time, Eric. So would you share with us about a low moment or an experience of adversity that you faced somewhere in your personal or professional journey, and then describe how you overcame it?
Yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily one moment, but early in my teaching career, just the inability to say no, simply to, whether it was to please my admin or to feel like, my students are solely dependent on me, which is very selfish and very prideful. But once I released that and was able to say no to some good things, to say yes to, things that needed more of my attention, whether that was being more attentive to my students during the school day because I wasn't overcommitting myself to, after school activities and all the other things that teachers experience, and also just being able to spend more time with my family. I have a 15-month-old now, so that was another big shift for me to say no to even more things. And yeah, it just really allowed me to be fully present with my family, but also be fully present when I am at work, just to do the best of my ability as a teacher, as a husband, as a father, and as a friend to the people that are close to me.
It's no coincidence that this theme has come up 2 weeks in a row here on the program, this idea of correctly or properly managing our priorities. And that's always a challenge for teachers and educators. We work hard, and I know we're going to talk more about that, but thank you for sharing that experience from your story. So looking through the lens of fitness and wellness, Eric, what do you think? What are some of the personal challenges faced by teachers in 2024?
The common two things that I hear are teacher burnout, which is maybe a term that teachers are burned out of hearing about, but it's a real thing. And then lack of time. Again, going back to being overcommitted to things. And I think we get wrapped up because, it's kids, we have to be there for the kids. We have to be there for the kids, and everything is about the kids, which is awesome. But there's also so many other areas where we have to prioritize those areas so we can be complete and we can be whole and we can show up to the best of our ability for our kids. It's not about just us being there, multiple hours or, planning the perfect lesson. That's all great and stuff. But if it's taking up time away from the things that are actually filling you up personally, or whether that's family, friends, or just some time to yourself to go out on a Saturday and not work at all. And then all that kind of leads to burnout. And when we're burned out, we're just kind of average in everything we do, instead of being the best of our ability in all those realms, because we are filled up, because we're, prioritizing ourselves first.
And that's the essence of my brand, Eric, is this idea of staying on fire instead of burning out. And you're right, we hear a lot about burnout, maybe too much, but the reality is that a lot of our colleagues have reached their maximum. They've lost their fire and their cup is empty. So I like what you have to say there about making sure that our own cup is being filled. We're finding those places where we get those recharges, those boosts of energy and passion and joy. We all need those. The most common pushback, Eric, from teachers on working out is the lack of time. So how can we make the most of the small minutes, even the ones that we have at school, to improve our fitness. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm big on, if you're just getting started out, is implementing fitness and exercise into what you're already doing. So whether that's, you have a 5 minutes, break between classes, or I know that's not too common. You got other things going on, but you have 5 minutes on the front end of lunch to knock out some push-ups or some squats or some jumping jacks. And it's not even just about the physical, but the mental benefits that we get from that for those short few minutes that we're doing something during the day are just the greatest little asset that we can add into our day. And it's not taking extra time by having to go spend, 30 minutes commuting to the gym and home, plus working out, plus not teachers realistically don't have that time if we're trying to be our best in every arena of our life. And so I think, before work's a great time. Lunch break, I know I'm elementary teacher, so by the time elementary teachers take their kids to lunch, get back, and little Johnny forgot his lunch money or his lunch box, and you already don't have time. So enjoy your meal and eat it, because that's important as well. But even just a few minutes after school, get a couple of coworkers to take a couple laps around the school, or go into the gym at your school if you have one, and just do whatever exercises you enjoy doing. And I think the most important thing too is making sure that it's fun. If you're going into it with a mindset that it's going to be a burden and you're not going to enjoy it, then don't do it. Find a way to make exercise something that you enjoy. And again, if you're at the elementary level, those kids want to get up and they want to exercise and they want to move their little bodies. So, hey, join in on the fun with them in the class, join in at recess. I can't speak to middle school and high school, but I'm sure they have just as much energy as those little guys.
Something I've been having a lot of fun with in my classrooms this year. Now, I teach a portion of my time. The other portion of my time is administrative work, but I do get to see a lot of different elementary classes at the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade levels, and I love to get them moving. If I come into a room and I know they've been sitting for the last 45 minutes, I will get them up and moving to, right now I love the Just Dance videos on YouTube, which are basically just screen captures from people's video games. And my favorite one is Everybody Dance Now, which of course is an iconic classic from the 90s, but you just can't help but smile as you watch kids get into this. And then I love it when teachers join in as well. I've got some great colleagues who are ready to bust a move at a moment's notice, which is really great. So you touched on this, Eric, but speak a little bit more to that teacher who says, wow, I want to be fit, Eric. I want to burn off that stress, but I just feel like working out is torture. Do you have a few specific suggestions or strategies about where this person can start?
Yeah, I think number one, make sure it's something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be what you're seeing from the influencers out there. If that's what you enjoy, like, absolutely do that. I happen to enjoy push-ups and pull-ups and squats and a lot of like body weight movements, but that's not for everybody. What might motivate you to get outside or get moving is maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's walking the dog and jogging every now and then with the dog, or playing catch with a friend or with your children. Or the ideas are really endless. There's something out there that you enjoy. And the number one, most important and easily accessible exercise for everybody to do is walking. I think that's a great place to start, because getting your blood flowing, you are getting some sunshine, hopefully. Maybe not this time of year. If it's really cold, you might be doing it indoors, but start with walking. Start with something that you enjoy and just keep doing that thing. And you'll see how that will help you mentally, but it also might eventually evolve into something where, you feel more competent with the way your body's moving. And then you're able to try maybe a new sport or something else, and just kind of experimenting with what you enjoy. It doesn't have to be going to the gym and lifting weights and spending hours on a cardio machine, because let's be honest, nobody likes to be on a treadmill for an hour, or very few people that I know like to be on a treadmill for an hour. That might last a week or two, but find something that you can repeat day after day after day, week after week, and watch those changes happen for your body and also for your mind.
The secret, Eric, the secret to working out or to cardio that feels really monotonous is listening to the Teachers on Fire podcast while you are on that treadmill.
There we go. Shameless plug.
That's right. But no, I get it. And you're right. Not everyone is into that. I've gotten back into running just in the last week because I saw some really high blood pressure numbers that I need to get back under control. So I'm going to try to build back that daily running habit, but it's not really from a place of passion. It's really from a place of necessity. Thank you so much for joining us, Teachers on Fire. If you're getting value from this conversation, give the video a like on whatever platform you are joining us on. Eric, for time-starved teachers, now I wasn't aiming for a pun here, but for time-starved teachers, cooking nutritious meals is another huge challenge, and I'm going to speak from personal experience here. I mean, who's got the time to come home and whip together something? And when I say whip together, it's never a 5-minute task. Put it together, eat it, hopefully as a family, and then take care of all the cleanup to follow. I know a lot of teachers do pull this off, but for many others, it's such a big challenge. What are some practical principles or strategies that you can share to help us eat well when we're at home instead of always eating out?
Yeah, I'm really big on meal prepping, especially lunches. If I can make something on Sunday that's going to last me 5 days, like I'm all for it. So what I'll do is personally is put like a protein on a like baking pan, and I'll put some veggies, kind of mix in whatever I'm feeling like eating that week or that day, like a couple of veggies on there. And then if you want to have like a maybe another carb source on the side, like rice or quinoa or pasta or something. But that's easy. I throw the chicken and broccoli and carrots in the oven, 15, 20 minutes, and then cut it up into 5 equal portions, and then my lunches are ready to go. And I think that can also be done for dinner. I don't like to meal prep dinner as much. My wife and I like to cook together. But little trick that we've done recently is we'll buy enough ingredients to eat the same thing for 2 nights. So we might, if we know, like, let's say Tuesday's a busy day, we'll cook it like a double batch on Monday, and then it's also ready for the next day just to heat up. Or we'll buy enough ingredients where we can cook it 2 days in a row. And I like to keep it super simple. I'm not a very complicated cook either, but if you hit a protein and a veggie, and then one other maybe carb source, like I talked about, rice, quinoa, something like that. And then also, I think this is another good hack, is Primal Kitchen makes incredible dressings. They're a little more pricier, but they're avocado oil based and like really clean ingredients. But just putting a little bit on top of that, on top of your meal, and kind of mixing it in can really like add the flavor to make it not taste maybe as bland. So make sure you're seasoning your foods with the seasonings you like too. And I highly recommend Primal Kitchen sauces for, mixing it up with your proteins and putting it on top of your veggies.
Love it. And I did expect the chicken and broccoli. I hear that a lot from my fitness friends, from my fitness influencers. So chicken, broccoli, and rice, going back to those staples. I know it doesn't need to be just those, but those are some tried and true examples. I want to pause really quick here in the broadcast to say hello to a couple of friends. We've got brother Andrew Cavey in the YouTube chat saying, light the fire. Well, thank you, brother, coming into us from Vancouver Island this morning. And we've got Josh Tovar, another brother. Hermano. Buenos dias, Tim, he says, coming in from Garland ISD in Texas. Andrew adds slow cooker meals or instant pot meals. He's giving me more suggestions there. Thank you for that. Yes. All right. We're going to have some fun now. I have not done this, I don't think, with any other guest, Eric, but I thought with a fitness friend on the podcast, let's go dig it or ditch it. And I'm going to throw some topics to you, and you just give me your gut reaction. Are you a fan or not? You can add comments if you want. I've got a list here. So let's fire away. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Some answers might have two, because I don't believe in the dogmatic approaches for any.
It's some gray. I get it. Okay. First one up, intermittent fasting.
Yeah. This is one I don't know. Like, could work for you, could not. But if you're hungry, eat. I've tried intermittent fasting in the morning, like waiting till lunch, but it doesn't work for me. But it might work for you. Great way to, manage your calories if you're able to. But I just ended up overeating at dinner, so it's a no for me. Ditch it.
Okay. Coffee.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully before noon. Dig it before noon. That caffeine stays in your system can stay up to 10 hours. So if it's affecting your sleep, ditch it. But before noon, unlimited.
Shakes.
Yes. I dig it. I think they're a great addition to, just an overall well-rounded, nutritious eating plan.
Cereal.
There is a new good brand called 3 Wishes, which is a lot cleaner. So I dig that. But the highly processed, Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, ditch it majority of the time.
All right. Running,
dig it. If your knees don't hurt and your hips don't hurt, dig it.
Daily stretching routines.
I ditch it personally. I like to go through full range of motion with my, strength training exercises. That's my form of mobility, but I could probably do more of it. So if you like the monotonous of stretching, yeah, go for it.
Gym memberships.
I ditch it at this current stage of life. I have a 15-month-old at home, so it's easier just to go to the garage, pick up some kettlebells, and do that. But if you got the time, dig it.
Pickleball.
Dig it. Yes,
Eric, I've got some colleagues who are absolutely nuts about pickleball right now. It's funny.
it's awesome.
Push-ups.
Dig it. Easy. No gym membership needed. It's free. You can do it anywhere. You can modify it in any way. Dig it.
Drive-through burgers.
Dig it if you skip the bun.
Okay. All right. All right. I thought for sure you were going to say ditch it on that one, but you just gave me permission. So thank you for that. And 10,000 steps a day.
Ditch it. It's too specific. I think it can get like a mental block if you're at, it's 9 o'clock at night and you're at 7,000 and you have this stressful mind that you have to get out and do something when maybe you should just be sleeping. So I ditch it.
All right. And David Goggins.
Don't know a lot of his stuff. I see him running with motivational videos. I think he's got great motivational speeches. So let's dig that one.
Dig that one. Okay. If you don't know, if you're watching us and you've never heard of David Goggins before, just do a quick Google search on him. You'll see what he's all about. He's the kind of guy, if this is appealing to you, if you want a drill sergeant to yell at you and tell you to keep going and just take it to the next level, he's your guy. But I know that message is not for everyone. Back to it, Eric, you've got a great TeacherFit newsletter. What can teachers expect and where can they go to sign up for this newsletter?
So if you go to teacherfit.com/newsletter, you can subscribe there for free. It's just basically practical tips around education, things that educators commonly face, things that I commonly face as an educator or hear my coworkers talking about. And I try to write on topics that you just very practical ways to, eat more nutritious foods, to exercise, to do all this without like the shame and the guilt of feeling a certain way if you're not, if you're kind of falling off the wagon. And it's all about flexibility, sustainability, very, very practical ways to stay fit as an educator. So it comes out every Tuesday morning and you can subscribe and just get those practical tips in your inbox, short 3-4 minute reads. And yeah, hope they help you if you decide to sign up.
I will say from personal experience, and again, this is not a sponsored video, but I've been subscribed to the newsletter for years and really enjoy it. And you're right, the tone is not preachy. It's not like I feel bad. It's really just positive, taking that next step, whatever that looks like in your world. And I so appreciate those gentle nudges. Sometimes you just your head gets down and you're busy maybe stuck in a busy season of school and you start losing connection with some of those good habits that are really going to help your physical and emotional health. Eric, Josh is tuning in, as I mentioned earlier on YouTube. He says, I need David every morning at 3:45 a.m. when I'm rolling out of bed. So Josh, I think you have us beat on the early mornings. And I knew you got up early. I remember seeing some posts from Anytime Fitness there in Texas at 4:30 in the morning. But 3:45, sir, is pretty impressive. And Josh, one more comment here. I need my 10K mark to ensure I am walking the campus. Kind of a gentle nudge. And so he's interpreting that not just as a health monitor, but as a leadership monitor as well, which is really helpful. All right. Well, Eric, we're going to start to wind down with a few more rapid fire questions. First one up, share about a personal habit or a productivity hack that contributes to your success and keeps your fire burning bright.
All right, I had to delete emails off my phone and I had to make sure inbox 0 was not a thing. So I had like my work email on my phone and, I'd find myself checking it every 30 minutes, every hour when I wasn't at work. And it put me in that work mindset of I'm all the time at work, or I need to be all the time wherever my feet are currently planted. So be where my feet are is kind of the mantra with that is I want to be with my wife and I want to be with my son and my friends, and all that is way more important to me than my career, even though my career is super important to me. I think they all have their place, but, making that sure that inbox, I checked it when I was at work. I check it when I'm at work. Sometimes you have to check it. I understand, but maybe I would highly suggest like time blocking that. So if you need to, there's an important email coming, like maybe one time in that evening, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock, whatever, a couple hours before you go to bed, say, I'm going to block 15 minutes off to go through all my emails, reply to them. Because sometimes the reality is, as educators, we do have to do some work outside of our contracted hours. That's just the reality of it. As I'm sure you know, Tim, as an administrator, you're probably 24/7, thinking about it or on the clock. But yeah, inbox zero, it doesn't have to be at zero. Like it's okay if that message from downtown that's, comes every Monday, like if you didn't read it that week, like sure, there's, if it's something important in there, your admin will tell you. So highly recommend email off the phone. That's helped me so much.
Well, my rule isn't exactly the same, but I've found that just turning off notifications allows
Yeah.
me to ignore email, let's say,
Yeah.
for a good 24, 36, even 48 hours on a
Yeah.
weekend. So that I just need that space. And that's what I hear in what you're saying too. Point us to an edtech tool or app, Eric, that you currently love using somewhere in your professional practice.
Most educators probably use this one, but Canva is great for, I print off all my, PE expectations and, just certain infographics about, like, let's say we're working on dribbling, just infographics that it can easily, and there's a great tool on there on Canva to translate English to Spanish or to really any other language. So I'm at an ESOL school, so we have a lot of Spanish speaking students. And so being able to, swap between those two graphics for them when we're in whatever unit we're in is a great tool. And I just love playing around with all the elements and the little graphics on there and just the formats of it. I just love creating that stuff kind of in my free time.
And is there a fitness app that you're a big fan of? I should have asked you that to begin with, but are you on Strava or some of the other popular fitness apps? Do you have any takes there?
No, I don't have any of the fitness apps. I think I do have an Apple Watch, so I'm not super into tracking my steps or anything, but I move all day, so I think I feel good about it. I try not to get too techie with my fitness. That just doesn't work for me. But it's great for recording workouts. Like if I want to, stick to a 20-minute workout, 30-minute strength training workout, then it's great for tracking that. But I think the apps they're great. I think they have great purposes. If you're looking to track your nutrition, I know there's I think MyFitnessPal, you can track, your meals. And if you're trying to eat a certain amount of protein or carbs or fat or certain calories, I think they can all be great.
Recommend a book, one that you've been reading lately, or perhaps one of your all-time faves that's been influential in your practice or your physical education journey.
I actually just started a new one. It's called Are My Kids on Track? So it's talking about spiritual, emotional, and mindful kind of milestones for kids. Whereas I know there's a lot of milestones we track as educators. For me, physical milestones for my students, physical achievements. And then there's also obviously the educational achievements like math and ELA. But this one is talking more about those emotional regulation type of milestones to track. And there's 12 of them in the book. I'm kind of through the first one, which was perspective, helping kids have a perspective of a situation that they encounter and how to, regulate that emotionally. So I'm excited to get into the rest of the 11 of them.
Tell us about someone we should follow on Education X, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and share why they've been inspiring you lately.
So I've been following Dr. Don Parker. He is a PD speaker. He just had a recent TED Talk come out that I highly recommend. But he's all about building relationships with kids. He's more focused on the trauma background that students maybe experience. And so education, as you know, as an educator, building those relationships with kids is everything starts from there. So he's big on that. And he's also big on preventing educator burnout. He does some PD work around that. And he's just a good follow. He's genuine. He's sincere. He's just on fire. He's a teacher on fire. And just, you can tell he really is passionate about what he's talking about. And he's just a great follow on Twitter. I don't know if he's on Instagram. He might be. Sorry, Dr. Don. I should have maybe looked into that, but he's definitely on Twitter. Dr. Don Parker 1, I believe, is his handle.
All right. Thanks for that shout out. And then finally, what are the best ways for the Teachers on Fire listening to follow you?
I think the best way is the newsletter in your inbox every Tuesday with just practical tips. You can reply to that. If you have any questions or, just need some tips, I'm willing to help out as much as I can. Educators, you are the ones that are on the front lines, and your health and your wellness matters. And if you take care of you, you're going to be better off taking care of your students and all the other responsibilities of life. So yeah, just that's probably the best way is probably through the newsletter. And I'm also on Instagram, as you mentioned, the handle previously.
Sounds good, Eric. Again, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with the podcast today. This has been fun. It's been inspiring for me. It's given me another little push that I need in a busy season at my school. So thank you so much. Teachers on Fire. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, and I'm so grateful that you too decided to spend some of your day tuning into this podcast, either on video or audio form. I hope that in some way the content you heard today from Eric Nelson sparked your thinking and ignited your practice. And I'll meet you next week right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.